In this month's episode, I wanted to spend some time going over the pilot and giving you an update on where we stand with that. So I thought I'd start off by kind of revisiting what we talked about in the last issue, which was the communication strategy. We had a training last month by Sean Mendoza on February 13th, where we got to learn a lot about not only Gmail, but some of the features that are going to be available through the Google apps like Docs and spreadsheets and forms. So I quickly wanted to go through and revisit a few of those and show you in a practical way, since we talked, kind of abstractly about these in the training. How are we going to put these to use in our daily work? So I'm going to give you examples of that in the next few slides. First of all, if you remember in the last issue, I talked about old and new forms of communication, old being strictly email, and the new form of communication represented by Gmail and all of the features available with it. That the Gmail system that we're moving to is going to provide us with 1, a communication hub, 2, a collaborative space, and 3, a knowledge management tool. So I wanted to give you some practical examples of how we're going to put those things to use here at the college, and also show how those relate to the assigned advising pilot. So a good example of a communication hub, again, I talked in the last issue about Google Communities. Google Community is a grouping of people around a like-minded subject. For example, we could have a community for Desert Vista Student Services, and you would be able to go to this page very much like a Facebook page with postings and pictures and videos and links to articles and everything you need in one central space. And I said that I want to create one of these for our Desert Vista Student Services department. Well, not long after I put that video out, an email went out. I believe it's been about 2 weeks now. It looks like District IT is experimenting with this already. A guy by the name of Will McCullens, who works at District IT, has made a Google community for IT security. So, if you get a chance, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and visit this page, and so you can get an idea of what a Google community looks like. And if you click the link on the lower right hand part of the page, you can see what the community looks like. So go ahead and click that if you want to go there now. You can see some of the things that are on that page: polls, links to articles, discussion pieces, and this is a very good example of the kind of thing that I want to institute for our student services department here at Desert Vista. Go ahead and take a look at that right now. The next thing that we talked about was a collaborative space, that Google would allow for a collaborative space where we could meet, as a department for various things, to work on a document, to hold trainings, to meet with our students eventually virtually, like you could have a virtual advising session. And I wanted to report that some of that is already being done. Last week we had trainings at the district that not everybody was able to attend, and what we made possible through a Google Hangout was a recorded training that we then were able to send out as a link to everybody that was unable to attend the VA training. This was made possible through the Google Hangout feature that is available with the Gmail account. And if you want to take a look at that, look in the lower left-hand side of your screen. You can click that to see an example of a training that took place last week, last Wednesday and Thursday. I believe it was March 4th and 5th at the district. It was a VA training. Another example of the way Google allows us to collaborate is through documents. So in the training you saw how in Google, a lot of people can be working on a particular document at one time. We don't have to store it on a shared drive and wait for somebody to stop using it before we can start editing it and making changes to it. So we put that to use already with one document that we're using for our STU classroom visits. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in the next few minutes, but just to give you an idea of what we did, We're conducting classroom visits to students in all the STU 100 classes, and we wanted them to come in for what we're calling a get to know you meeting, where the advisors would get to know them a little bit better and vice versa. And so we wanted to send them out what we're calling an inventory form before their first visit. This would be a questionnaire that the student fills out just so the advisor gets an understanding of their student before the first appointment. So Ryan and Michelle did a great job drafting this, and then they sent it out to everybody else in the group to edit it. So we could all make our changes at the same time. We could go in, make improvements on it, and after the editing was done, we had a document that we're now using to send out to our students. So that's an example of how Google can be used as a collaborative space. And finally, we talked about the knowledge management piece, that the college really needs something where we can go to a resource that we can go to get information about, past meetings, trainings, different things. So what we've done, we've created our own YouTube channel. It's called the Desert Vista Knowledge Management Library, and this is where we're going to be storing all of our trainings, all of our recorded staff meetings. For example, this could be where you interview somebody from a faculty or department chair on a topic like aviation or humanities or whatever, and we would have that as a resource. Just recently we uploaded a few trainings, as I showed you. The VA trainings are there. I did a tutorial on how to create bookable appointment slots on your calendar. So these are the kinds of things that we're going to be able to access in our knowledge management library. And if you want to take a look at our YouTube channel, just click the link on the bottom right portion of the page. Okay, so I want to finish by giving you an overview of where we're at with our pilot. For this portion of the pilot, we called it Phase 2 in the pilot proposal. I want to read you a section of the pilot proposal. It says, from a service perspective, one major challenge of the new model for advising staff will be adjusting to advising appointments. Advisors will not only have to coordinate appointment scheduling, but they will need to prepare in advance for their meetings with students. It'll take time for advisors to learn how to manage their caseloads. For this reason, we recommend a scaled-back approach to assigned advising in the spring 2015 semester, where we offer assigned advising only to students in STU classes. DV Student Services can provide assigned advising in manageable steps that will not disrupt services or overwhelm the staff. So what we recommended was that after peak, we would block off sections of time for the advisors to offer appointments. The advisors would engage with a caseload of STU 100 students, and they would conduct classroom visits with these students to get to know the students in that class better. Okay, so this is something that we've done. We've gone ahead and implemented this, and I'm going to show you how we did that. Okay, so for the student engagement piece of the pilot, we've done three things. One, the STU classroom visits. We created an engagement plan, and we've implemented an online appointment system. And I'll show you a little bit more about each of those. So as part of the STU classroom visits, what we've done is we've assigned different advisors to different STU classes. As you can see from looking at this grid, we have 3 advisors, Francisco, Ryan, and Rosa, who are visiting STU 100 classes. Michelle is visiting an STU 105 class. So if you want to see what the advisors are going to be doing with these students, this is a brief summary of that. This is our engagement plan that we created. Okay, first of all, we started out with an introductory visit. That took place, from anywhere from the beginning of February up until February 25th. So these are already completed. And that's where the advisors went to the class. They visited the class for the first time, introduced themselves, gave an overview of how and when they were going to engage with the students throughout the semester. We're just this week wrapping up our Get to Know You visits. These are scheduled to be completed by Friday, March 13th. And these were a series of 20 to 30-minute meetings with each student in the class to explore their goals, values, interests, aptitudes, and limitations. So basically, it's so that the advisor can get to know the student a little bit better and the student can get to know the advisor. And these were 30-minute meetings that we scheduled with the student through the use of an online appointment scheduling feature, which I'll talk about in just a minute. The next round of visits is going to be for My Degree Plan. This is going to be a 30-minute session with each student to complete a degree planner, and those should all be wrapped up by April 3rd. Also during this visit, we will be letting the students know that if they are applying for financial aid, the priority deadline by which they need to do that is April 4th. And so not only are we going to be providing them with the My Degree Plan, building a planner for them, but we're also going to be letting them know that, look, if you're going to be applying for financial aid, to meet the priority deadline, you'll need to do that before April 4th. And we're going to be directing them to resources like the FAFSA Frenzy workshops and things of that nature to help them apply on time. The final visit that we're scheduling is the fall summer registration visit, which is a 30-minute session with each student to get them registered for summer or fall classes. And that we're going to be completing from a window of April 4th to April 24th. Students will have that window of time to come in and get all of this work done. A lot gets accomplished if the students are able to go to all of these visits. What's the benefit to the students? Well, first of all, they're connecting with an advisor, so they're getting used to seeing an advisor as a valuable resource during their time here at Pima. They will have a degree plan in place so that they have, they know what they're working towards and they have a plan for executing their goals. They will have applied, if they're getting financial aid, they will have applied for it for fall financial aid by the priority deadline of April 4th, and they will also have registered early for summer and fall classes if they complete and follow through on all of their visits. So that's the benefit to the students. The benefit to our advisors is in a manageable way, they're getting used to what it's going to feel like to eventually make appointment with students, meet with a set group of people regularly, go through a checklist of important items that the student needs to complete throughout the semester. So in other words, it's building muscle memory for what it's going to look like when assigned advising takes place, even though we still don't know at this point what's going to be the method of assigning students to advisors and so on. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off by showing you, we talked about needing an online appointment management system. So we were able to do that and implement an online appointment system using Google Calendar. Earlier this month I sent out, or maybe it was last month, I sent out a tutorial, basically an 8-minute video tutorial that shows you how you can create bookable appointment slots on your Google Calendar, and this is what the advisors use to set up their get-to-know-you meetings with the students. So the way it worked was they created these bookable appointment slots for the get-to-know-you visits from 8 to 10 and from 3 to 5 all week long for the students to come in and make a half-hour appointment with them. The students then made the appointment, and it was scheduled. Time is being scheduled so that the advisor can meet with the student. So it's working very well so far. If you didn't get a chance to see that tutorial, go ahead and click the link at the bottom right hand corner of this page, and you'll get to see what it is the advisors are doing to make the appointments with their students. Now, the other piece of this is once a student schedules an appointment with the advisor, what's happening then is for this particular meeting, the Get to Know You visit, we wanted to send them out that inventory that they would answer a series of questions on before they actually met with the advisor. So we are also using Google to do that. Once the student booked an appointment, the advisor would then send them a link to the online inventory. The student would fill it out, and the advisor would get the answers to those questions, and they could review them prior to their meeting with the student. So it took some tinkering with, but we finally have it working in a way that's pretty easy to use, and this can be a model for how we're going to do this in the coming semesters. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or respond to what I'd like people to start doing is leaving comments on the YouTube videos so that I can get an idea of what's working, what isn't, what you may have questions that I can follow up with on in the future. So please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the site and any other things that you'd like to see on there. I haven't forgotten about the self-help station tutorial. I will be doing a tutorial soon to show you how we're going to be working the self-help station a little bit better. But that's all for now. Hope you have a good day, and thank you for tuning in.